Hello everyone! I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm really grateful that you're listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. And in this one, I wanted to speak to you about something that I've been doing. I've been doing this for a long time, but something that I've kind of realized that I've been doing now. Because I do a lot of things unconsciously, or I've created habits out of it without knowing why I created the habit in the first place. Perhaps it was conscious at first, but then it became unconscious, or it was unconscious the whole time. But then now, for some reason, I guess I'm becoming a little bit more aware, self-aware, and aware in general. And so I'm noticing myself doing these things, and I'm asking myself, why do I do it this way, And so it's important to have systems, it's important to have habits, of course, but sometimes our habits end up chaining us, right? Like it becomes like a chain or like a prison that we can't get out of because we don't know why we're doing it, but we keep on doing it. Is it still useful for us to do it? If not, why do we waste our time doing it that way, right? And so we need to ask ourselves those questions, and I have been asking them myself. And so I've kind of noticed a few things that I want to share with you. And this has both to do with the fact that I'm an INFJ and I have ADHD. So I don't think you can, for me particularly now that I'm looking at myself, I really am having a hard time untangling or distangling, if that's the right word, removing those two aspects of myself away from each other because they're so intermingled with each other that I don't know what's because of the fact that I'm an INFJ or what's because of ADHD, or is it just literally the same thing and they just have different words for it, right? So I don't know which aspect of myself is because of this or due to this or is causing this. So I can't explain that, but so I'm going to put it to be the source of both, right? Both of them are causing it or are the reason for it. And so for the longest time, I've created systems, and I've talked about this with you in the past as well, that it's important for us to create systems for an INFJ, for a person with ADHD, because we get distracted. We're in our heads. We are in our imagination. We're not in the real world. And so we need to be in the real world sometimes to get real world stuff done. Like you need to pay your bills in real life here in this moment in time when they're due, right? You have to work on this planet to make sure that you have enough money to pay for all your food expenses, rent, etc., like the minimal expenses that you have. And so we need to be in this real world to do that. And unfortunately, sometimes we get distracted by so many different things. We have our obsessions, we have our projects, we have things going on in our head, we have relationships that we're confused by. And so we're just sitting there, in our heads, and real life is passing us by, and we were supposed to pay a bill, but we didn't because we forgot. Or we were supposed to do this or that, but we forgot, And so you have to set up systems. It's so important as an individual with ADHD and an INFJ at the same time. It's so important for me to have systems. I don't know where I would be without them. I literally would not be able to tell you what my day is about or how I'm doing it if I didn't have systems in place. And I have so many systems in place. So many systems. And I really wanted to speak to you about this today because I really feel that if you are having a hard time managing your life, your real world life, because I'm sure in your head you're doing really well, but if you're having a hard time managing your real life here on this planet, this earth that we live on, then it's really important for you to set up systems. So examples, it's interesting because actually a couple of people, when I started talking about this stuff, they would message me saying, hey, these are the systems I've set up. And a lot of those systems have to do with finances because that's one thing that really irks us. We just can't get our heads around it. We have a really hard time with it. That's why so many INFJs I speak to, so many of them are either on welfare or like some kind of support system like that, or they live with their parents still because they just can't figure out their finances, or they're really destitute and they don't have enough heat or enough money to pay for heat or enough money to pay for food and things like that. And a lot of them message me saying things like that, and I constantly see that, and I know it's because of this thing that we have, that we just can't figure out our finances. For some weird reason, it's just the hardest thing on the planet. We can figure out quantum physics. You ask us anything about that complicated subject and we'll be able to give you a detailed answer on it, right? But if you ask us, okay, so what bill is due today? And we'll just be sitting there like, I have no idea. I don't even know how much money I have in my account. I have no idea what's going on with it. And so it's really important for us to set up systems, right? And so a very simple system to set up is to automate all bill payments, right? Now, you might be thinking, but what if they charge me for this? Of course, you need to have fail-safe mechanisms, right? So this is how I've set it up. and I'm just giving examples. You can set it up exactly how you want, because you might be different in the way you do things, but I'm just giving you examples to get your juices flowing, for you to start thinking about this in the form of systems rather than, oh, I'm just going to do it when it happens. Kind of stop being so reactive and be more proactive about things. Set them up and forget about it. And that's how I've set it up for myself. Literally for the last 20 years, I've set them up and forgotten about it, right? So as I said, automate bill payments. So I have automated every single bill that I have. So it might be property taxes, it's mortgage, obviously automated. All my credit card statements are automated. Any kind of insurance payment is automated. All of my payments for all of the different subscriptions I have for my business are all automated, right? So they automatically go into my credit card or automatically take them out of my bank account. Now you're thinking, oh my gosh, what if there's a mistake? Of course, there are mistakes. Sometimes there are, right? And so you have to constantly check through that. And so I've set up a calendar notification on my, to-do list. Every other week, I go into my credit card statements and my bank account to make sure there's no random weird errors that I notice, and I'm like, oh, this does not look right. And then if there is something, then I'll call and make sure, right? And so I've set that up as well. So that's a fail-safe mechanism. So make sure that if you have an automated system set up, that you don't, you're not just like letting it go on forever without checking it. You have to kind of pay attention to it as well a little bit, right? So there's a little bit of like side work that you have to do. It's not completely automated ever, but it is automated enough that you won't miss a bill, that it's automated enough that you won't miss a mortgage payment or an electricity bill and run out of the fact that you have no water anymore because you didn't pay a water bill, or your electricity got cut off because you forgot to pay your bill, even though you had the money sitting in your account, right? That is ridiculous. That's the point of all this, to avoid all that nonsense. So that's a system, right? That's the system I've created. I've been using it for I would say decades, actually. Probably 20 years, right? So this is how I've done it for many years, because I realized very, very soon that I'm not good at remembering when bills are due. I have no idea. I literally could not tell you. You might ask me right now, I'll be like, I'll make up a number because I really have no idea, because they're all automated for decades. But even if I tried to understand them, even if I try to remember, there's so much other information in my head. I can't do it. Why would I even try to remember this information when it can be automated, right? Why waste our time on it? And so that's how I've done it. Of course, you can build your own other system, but I'm just giving you an example, right? This is just the way I've done it. The same thing for investments. I have had an automatic payment going out to my investments since I was 21 years old. It has been going on since I was 21. I'm almost 40 now, so almost 19, 20 years. Every month for the last 20 years, automatically $100 goes into my investments. I have not even looked at it. I have no idea what's going on with it. If it goes out every month, I know I see that thing on my bank account statement saying, hey, there's $100. Oh, okay, right, it's my investment. Constantly goes out. I have no idea what's going on with it. I know exactly where it's invested, obviously, but I don't look into it. It's just an automatic thing, so that I don't have to think about investments, because I know I don't think about it. It just automatically goes through, so at least a part of my retirement is kind of funded for, right? And the consistency also helped, obviously, and helps with dollar cost averaging, all of that. But it's also the fact that I won't remember to do it myself. It has to be automated for me. I will not remember to do it myself. I really won't, right? Even though it's one of my passions. So that's also automated. Like, of course, this is just a system that I've built for myself. It might not work for you, it might work for you, but it is something that I'm telling you so you can kind of start thinking about it for yourself. So this is just a system that is financial related. What about health, right? So I have this kind of thing where I love numbers and I love reaching goals. And so I've kind of moved this kind of love for goals and numbers into my exercise routine as well. So I try to reach 10,000 steps every single day. And that 10,000 numbers is a nice number. It's a nice round number to reach. I don't reach it every single day, of course, because I'm always on my motorbike. But I try as much as possible to walk around in my room, or I'll go for a walk outside. Or, I'll just, whenever I'm walking, I'll make sure that whenever I'm talking on the phone, I'll make sure that I'm walking at the same time so that I'm getting my steps rather than just sitting around. If I could do these videos walking, I would do them, but I think this is better this way. So as much as possible, as long as it's not necessary for me to sit. If I'm on my computer, I can't obviously walk. But if I can walk doing the thing that I'm doing, talking on the phone, reading a book, listening to an audiobook, as much as possible, I'll get up and I'll just walk. It doesn't have to be fast, but it's just a way to move my body so that I feel healthy in my body and my body doesn't feel stagnant. It's a really easy system that I've set up for myself. Every single time, I don't need to sit. I'll just get up. I'll just get up automatically, and then I'll just walk. And sometimes I'm listening to an audiobook. Sometimes, as I said, I'm setting out voice notes. Sometimes I'm checking things on my phone that I can do while I'm walking. Doesn't require a lot of effort. Things like that. If I need to sit down, of course, to do something, of course, I'll sit down. But then as soon as possible, I'll try to get up again and walk. So I've kind of interspersed movement throughout my day because that works best for me rather than doing like a chunk of exercise right away. I do have those chunks 2 or 3 times a week where I'll go for like a long run or I'll do a little bit of weights. But mostly my exercise or my routine about movement is about walking, right? And so I've kind of created a little bit of a system with it, and actually works really well for me. It works for my personality, it works for my schedule, it works for the person I am. So that's a system, right? It's a very basic system. It's not very complicated, as you can tell, right? And I've kind of made it into a habit, so it's a habitual to me. So whenever I'm not doing anything that requires me to sit, I'll automatically get up because it's just something that I've built into myself, right? I'll automatically just go for a walk. Sometimes, of course, I'm lazy, and so that's fine. I don't force myself. If I'm lazy and I just want to rest, then I'll just sit or lie down. But mostly, if possible, I'll get up and try to walk, right? Another system that I've built. Now, I gave you these examples not to say, oh, you should do things like me, because I think it might not necessarily work for you like that. But I wanted to, as I said, give you some ideas and for you to start thinking about it for yourself. What kind of systems can you build for yourself to make your life easier so that you're not running after things, being more proactive about it, right? Doing it before the disaster happens, like getting stuff done so you're not missing payments, so you're not worried about retirement, so you're not worried about your health, like kind of preempting all of this stuff. So I wanted to say this. I have a lot more to say about it, so maybe I'll do a second video, but I want to end it here. Again, if you have systems of your own, please share them with us. I would love to hear about all of your systems that you've set up, because I'm sure you have some, even if you're not conscious about it. And again, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your support, and I shall see you the next time around. Bye for now.